So hello everybody, I am Matt. So I'm going to talk about ancient Korean art. So that is this slide. Korea, named Shilla. So I have about 25 slides. So I cannot explain fully the development of ancient Korea. But in ancient art, in Korea and Japan, the most important element is introduction of Buddhism to Korean Peninsula. And that took place around 392, so 4th century. But then eventually it took about 200 years until Buddhism permeated among aristocratic families of three kingdoms. And then Japan too, during the Asuka period, equivalent to Korea's three kingdoms, Japan is also going to accept Buddhism as a national religion. So where did the Buddhism come from? From India. It goes up to the Gandhara area. Where is Gandhara? And then it goes through Central Asia, and then it came to Dunhuang, Chinese territory, and then eventually came to the capital, Xi'an, and then the Buddhism spread through Korea first, and then it spread through the Korean Peninsula, and then Baekje, for example, gave Buddhism to Japan. So that's how entire East Asian countries had some cultural homogeneity, and that is through Buddhism in the ancient times. So I just explained to you the introduction of Buddhism to Korea and Japan. And Three Kingdoms period, it starts from 37 BCE after the fall of Gojoseon, and then it lasted until 7th century. I have to change it to CE, Common Era, and then 668 out of these three countries, Goguryeo, Baekje, and then Shilla. It was actually Shilla which unified the entire peninsula. So it's called Unified Shilla period of about 300 years. So linguistically, Korean and Japanese, they belong to the same language group, but Chinese is not. So Mongolian language, and then Korean language, Japanese language, the same group, but Chinese is not. And then if you go up, the origins of Ural-Altai linguistic roots, you go to actually Turkey, and then Hungarian and Finnish. So as we've seen in the spread of home pattern charts, there is some sort of ancient travel routes along the northern part of Eurasia. So during the prehistoric period in Japan, prehistoric period in Korea, we excavated a lot of precious objects from the tombs. These are archaeological objects. They are not really used for daily activities. It's more for rituals, meaning for ceremonies, or for funerary offerings. So they, for example, they intentionally created these gilt bronze shoes, not to wear them every day, but to wear this on a dead body in order to commemorate their afterlife. And then the bronze mirrors with a lot of geometric patterns, and you can see the relationship with home patterned jars, right? The geometric lines are now transferred onto bronze mirrors, and these are accessories in a way. So you will carry it on your belt by connecting these along the loops, handles. We found a lot of gold, these bronze mirrors from the tombs. So Goguryeo, and then Baekje is here, and then Shilla. There used to be Gaya Federation. Gaya is not a kingdom. They never made a kingdom. It's more like a major aristocratic families created a federation. But soon, half of Gaya was part of Baekje, Then another part of Gaya became part of Shilla, so they got lost. And then they were fighting a lot. At some point, it was pretty strong, and in the end, it's this tiny country on the southern eastern corner of the Korean peninsula, which will unite the country. So Goguryeo people are known for their archery or their military skills. And then this is the spread of Buddhism, so explaining, so from here Bodh Gaya, where Shakyamuni got realization, and then it travels all the way to Gandhara region throughout the Central Asia, coming to Dunhuang, China, and then Xi'an. Where is the Xi'an? Xi'an is the capital of China. Chengdu, where can't I? Xi'an is somewhere around here to the west, and then travels to Longmen, and then finally coming to Goguryeo, and then from there it goes to Japan. So there are many Buddhist objects in Korean art. If you are ever taking my art, and about 3 weeks explaining all those Buddhist monuments and Buddhist statues, but because this is a little abridged version of a Korean art, I'm going to focus on these two images. They are both called seated Maitreya or meditating Maitreya Bodhisattva. So both of them, they are not Buddhas yet. Buddha means enlightened being. So it's sort of the level of enlightenment. Bodhisattvas are people in training. So they are training to become a Buddha. So they can be a Buddha, but they decided to be a lay person, meaning ordinary citizens like you and me, so they can help more people. So their goal is helping others. Helping others means helping people like us who are in misery. Helping people. And then Maitreya is a type of bodhisattva. So there are maybe 4 or 5 major bodhisattvas, a type of bodhisattvas, and among them Maitreya is one type. So literally Maitreya means future Buddha, meaning they are so noble and they are so giving that their destiny to be a Buddha is ascertained. It was guaranteed. So it's a future Buddha. So usually aristocratic members of 3 kingdoms, they identify themselves with Maitreya Bodhisattva. Out of many bodhisattvas, they particularly identified themselves with Maitreya because they are already in a very good position to be a Buddhist patron or a Buddhist benefactor or helping others. So we only have these 2. These are each about 3 feet high. So these are pretty large because the statues are 3 feet, but they are going to be mounted on top of, let's say, 5 feet podium or at least 4 feet podiums. You can see that they are pretty high up there, if you stand in front of it. And both of them are made of bronze. So these are called gilt bronze. So these are bronze casting in large size of 3 feet. And the shape is pretty elaborate, right? One leg across the other leg. And then hands are touching the chin because this is a gesture of thinking. And then the other arm is relaxed. But these are cast in one piece. So can you imagine you are making this elaborate shape in one casting? It's not assembled, so one casting. So it all tells us that these Maitreya statues of about 3 feet tells us that Chilla or Baekje people were capable of casting colossal size, more complicated statues as well. And again, the particular iconography, like a type of Maitreya, was really popular. It also tells us that aristocratic families were major donors of Buddhist art. This is very important. Two statues. And then we can also see the relationship between Japan and Korea. So there is one Bodhisattva, again Bodhisattva of mercy, and his name is Avalokiteshvara. Avalokiteshvara. So this one is in Horyuji Temple, which we are going to study in a moment in Japan. And this one is called Kudara Kannon. And Kudara is an old name of Baekje. So why are they called these particular images as Baekje Kannon? This means it's not Japanese, it's from another country. We can see the ongoing cultural exchange between three kingdoms and Japan, so that an ancient statue in Horyuji Temple from early 7th century is called Baekje statue. This is made of wood. It's a very fine wood carving. And the headgear or necklace, some other decorative elements were made of metal, and then they were placed on wood statues. So Japan, they create a lot of wood statues, and then the halo is made separately like